Hey everyone, welcome along. So we're nearly ready, aren't we, to do this big update that we've been talking about. But there's a couple of things that we just need to cover first. Because I was thinking, well, let's start doing an update now. And I thought, no, I've missed a step. So one of the things that we need to talk about really is kind of documentation. Now the reason why I thought, well, let's actually talk about this now is because the best documentation is transparent. It's not something that users having to go out of their way to find. It's not something that's going to cause them challenges to identify and to find. So we need to think, how are we best going to actually put the documentation right there, front and center, in front of our user base, so that they don't have to do anything to really get the most out of our report content. And part of this thing is around understanding that effectively within Power BI and within the context of the Power Platform, really any sort of business process that you've got, is there are two types of documentation, okay? So firstly, we've got our technical documentation. So that's going to be more like back-endy, isn't it, in terms of what does it take to manage the solution, how do you do this, what servers is it running on, if any, all that kind of thing, okay? And really, each layer of your Power BI environment, okay, from source system all the way through to visualization, should be covered by that kind of document. So what will happen is you will get lots of technical documentation about the source system, the source system this, the source system is that, really in-depth technical. This is what's having to do here. This is the API call we have to do. And eventually you get to kind of like the end user report side, which is more kind of, and you can kind of connect to it that way and drag and drop stuff. Okay. This is why we talk about things like Vertipack Analyzer being so good. That whole model documentation and then what goes on after it is Vertipack Analyzer. There just isn't really anything else you need. That file kind of covers everything. These are all the measures that are within the semantic model. This is the crux of what's going on in that semantic model. There's nothing else there. So it becomes a vital part of what you're doing. Your connection strings, everything like that you need to your data sources, those you will need to do separately. Definitely, Vertipack just doesn't do that. There's definitely issues in terms of trying to work out the best way to pull information out from Power Query. In terms of it, going to the advanced editor, copying and pasting stuff is probably about as good as it's going to get. But again, be sure to go through rename steps, add comments, and actually make it easy. Okay. It's always the bit that people forget is go in, add comments, and make life easy for yourself. What we've got as well now within our model is we need to think, well, we've built reports. Now, one of the things that Ross keeps banging on about and harping on, and he just doesn't give up, is that those kind of reports, we need to stop fixating on the report content itself. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong, we do, because the whole point of the semantic model is the report. What I mean is, if you have a semantic model that is truly of value to the business, it will be serving multiple reports. Those reports will evolve over time. Those report requirements will change, and that semantic model will keep working with them. So the report, which someone views, might today be focused on our total sales. Tomorrow, it might be focused on our total transaction counts. Do you see? So depending on what drives your business, what the focus is, your main model will be doing different things, which is why we shouldn't be focusing, well, today the report looks like this. The report's fine. This is what apps are for. Apps are great at kind of locking a standard set of reports together and saying, this is it. Okay, this is why I disagree with a lot of the stuff that Microsoft does with apps. I'm like, it erodes that, and erosion of that and single pane of glass is just, well, what's the point? Different conversation. We can have that conversation anytime we want. But what it means is we get to the point where we've got everything coming together, and then we've got these reports. Now, if, as I've said before, like in an example I had with a client where we had over 100 reports coming from that semantic model. Okay, I know in terms of the ones I built about 20 or 30. So our company built, a third or so of the content of what was being used. They were building the rest. Okay, that is a high value model. What we need to do though is actually start to say, well, how can we make it easy and accessible? Because that's then where the end user documentation comes in. So we've gone through, I've done lots of this in the past, okay? We've built PowerPoints, we've built all sorts of things, and built PowerPoint, saved it as PDF, put the link to it in a SharePoint site, actually on or embedded in the app. So you've got a link in the app, you can click and download the PDF. There's a couple of things I want to go through today, though, just to kind of show you some more things that we can do to really get the most out of it. Now the boring bit. Geordie Intelligence is a YouTube channel. YouTube channels are dependent on you subscribing, on you liking, and ideally just interacting with the channel. Might be a like, might be a comment, just say, do you know, this works, this doesn't work for me. Okay? Tell us. If you don't tell us, I won't know. Geordie Consulting is, of course, our side that's geared up to support businesses in their aspirations and of progression with data. We work with clients of all sizes, from small local companies to large multinationals. We can work with you, understand what your requirements are, and more importantly, help you to get the most out of your data that you've got and to drive your business further forward. I hope what you've seen from the way that we work with this channel and the way that we work in general is I hope what you've seen from what's on the channel is an echo of what we do professionally. Our role is definitely to help companies manage themselves. Very much we want to work with you. Very much we want to make sure that you've got the skills internally to do anything that we would show you how to do. So here we are, okay? Our beautiful report pack, isn't it? Okay, we've got the panel that flies out, that does stuff. I wanted to show you the panel just to remind you, okay? The way this interacts, it's a big thing people talk about all the time. Is, oh, should we have the filter pane? Okay. You can see in this, we've hidden the filter pane on the right of the report pack, haven't we? It's not there. Okay, what I've done instead is I've gone this way where we've built one in here where you can it flies out, it does stuff. The way it works is every page on the report pack is linked into it. You use sync slicers, just like you could do with other stuff. You can do this quite easily yourself, right? And this leads on to really what we're going to do as well with some of the other side. See, what I've got to do for this, because the way I've positioned all this on the page is I've positioned it just behind me for some reason. Well, not for some reason, because I was trying to work out where best to put it. But I'll show you what's going to go on. But the point of this was really is how do we get to the point to where for our user base, they can readily start to actually see what is going on a page like this. So traditionally, we would kind of do a screen grab and say, well, this is this, this is this, this is this, and might have some blurb underneath it, and then we would do the next one. Okay, and that's one way of doing it. What I want to show you is this, okay? So hide me face, and we'll talk through the rest. So what we've got here, towards the bottom right, you'll see I've added a little question mark icon, okay? And I've put it here because, frankly, there's nothing on the bottom right of the screens, largely because I was thinking when I'm building all these, you'll have my face there, you won't be able to see it. What's the point? What I've done is when you click it, it displays these boxes, okay? Now, if we went to edit, what we can do is we can come here and we can say, well, let's insert a text box, put a text box in the middle. So we can actually start to piece together and put and overlay everything onto the page quickly, relatively easily as well, okay? The way this all works, and obviously once we come back, lastly, we'd obviously just click here and it hides everything except this is the main information, okay? And the reason it's not hiding it, and this is one of the things I wanted to show you, is because what we've done is we've placed everything and we've used, if we come here and we view the bookmark pane, not the bookmark pane, but sorry, the selection pane, you can see I've got help here. And the text box that we've just created is going to be, let's select it. So if we drop this into help, okay, which is the area that we've got now for it, if we choose to click hide, see it hides that, okay? So we've got like a toggle that allows us to make things visible and hide them again. So what you can do is you can piece together shapes to overlay areas of your page. And I've left a gap, which is a bit messy at the moment, just because I wanted to keep them all separate. You could have put that all as one big thing, and you could then put the borders around the text that you're putting on. And all I've really done is I've just used green boxes and made them mostly transparent or slightly transparent so that you can see what's going on behind. So it's quite easy thing to do. You can overlay stuff, you can do that. And then because it's just a click of a button to show and hide it, which is done through, you create bookmarks. So you can say we've got the help bookmark, and we've got the hidden bookmark, we've got the flyout bookmark, and we've got the hidden bookmark. Okay. And all these buttons are doing, be it this one, and the different ones actually when the flyouts are in or anything like that, is essentially they are referencing a position. So we see it's a display bookmark, and it's going to be on all visuals. You can have it set around current visuals, selected visuals. Again, just need to be a little bit careful when you're doing selected visuals, just because you want to tie it to particular things. If you were doing that, that would be if you want to try and have a way of having both of them open at once. But again, these are things to be aware of, that you need to think about what's going to happen or how people are going to use it. And you can see, you can spend time and effort doing it, but because it's not something everyone's got to learn where they need to go, and there's just a button on, like a little question mark. Oh, I wonder where help is. It's there. Now, if you were consistently putting help on the bottom right of every single page that you build, and you went down a very consistent way of doing it, your user base is going to get very quickly used to that. Okay. And from a customer perspective, that's all they really care about. Is, well, what do I need to do? Don't want to have to go and open a PowerPoint and go and find the page I'm looking at on the PowerPoint. I want to make it work. The other thing that I'd say, and I've done one of these here, is if we come through here, look at our consecutive events, you can see I've got description text now on it. Okay. So I'll zoom in, see if that should work. Yeah. So we've added a description to the measure, right, which makes it infinitely easier for people to understand, all right, this is what goes on with the measure. Again, do you put that in terms of anywhere else? I don't think so. Should you be putting the DAX or a summary of the DAX in here? Kind of yeah, but kind of no. Like kind of what's your end user going to want? They're not going to want to know, well, we've got variables to do this, variables to do that. They want to know, this is how you find this out. So this is display the consecutive events by part runner. It's calculated on run, so it can be slow for lots of people. We have it as a calculated column, so it's there as a maximum. And what we need to do, I think, is build one. So if there's no filter, use the one that's already calculated. If you have filtered it, so if you've kind of gone, well, I want to see who's got the most consecutive events runs in this period, then it'll go and do the slow calculation. That makes sense, okay? And that's something to be aware of just in general. So you'll hear often people say, a page needs to load within 2 seconds. 100%, I agree with that, okay? Page needs to load in 2 seconds. If your user goes, or your consumer says, well, I want to filter it by this, go, okay? And that takes 5 to 10 seconds. That's more acceptable because they've driven the action. Okay. So you still want it quicker, and you want to be trying to say, well, we're going to try and make these work faster for you. And again, because we're talking about improvements, that might be a reason or something, or not a reason, that might be a topic to bring into your improvement activities. It is slow when you bring in these filters. Not an issue. Okay, this is one we're going to have to deal with. There's a reason why I haven't massively tackled all this, is because of what we're doing behind the scenes with it. But we will be tweaking these measures at some point. You can already see we've kind of got some additional ones that I'm starting to write at the moment. Okay, but it's more I'm piecing together what's going on. But I hope you can see between those two simple elements, we can piece together and make it really easy for our customer base to say, well, all I'm interested in, is yeah, so I can say all I'm interested in is consuming. So I can click here. Sorry, I click the question mark and it brings up telling me what's going on. No problem. Every page has got that. That's great. We've got the flyouts here. We've got the dump filters measure in here. Again, quickly show you dump filters in a second, how you bring those in. Um, it's not difficult. It's in DAX Studio. You kind of just build it and then copy and paste it in. Really easy. Okay, but I'll show you that. But we want it pieced together as quickly and easy, but everything's then embedded so that when they go to, or when your customer base come to your apps and have a look at the app view, which we haven't got a Jasmine Dean Parkrun app. Let's go here, for example. When they come into the app view, you've got various things or everything around them that they need. Okay, what we've got here, you can see is we've got the link to our Geordie Intelligence page. So you can go and see what's going on in Geordie Intelligence. But that's always what you can do, isn't it? It could be a link to download the PowerPoint or to download something. We could do a video, and internally do a video to show people this is what you need to do. Okay. All of those are things, or all of these are things that will help people do more better or do more with the content that you build for them. So here we are, okay, back in our Power BI desktop file. Okay, you need to be in your Power BI desktop file. If we have a look here, we can see, I'm just going to actually click on this because I can't remember the name of the measure for this. Filters, okay. I was on form that day. Okay, so we've got filters. So we've got VAR, dump filters. If it's blank, just mark no filters. Okay, so we've got DAX dump filters, right? These always look way worse than they genuinely are, okay? Dump filters. So I have not written all this from scratch, okay? This is one of those beautiful things that the guys from SQL BI have done. It makes life infinitely better, okay? Basically, it goes through everything that you've got in and tells you, right, this is what you've done, this is what's going through, okay? And it's a big, long-winded thing. I'm going to do this. So I've connected here Visual Studio, not Visual Studio, DAX Studio, yeah, to our model, okay? All I need to do is right-click on any table in it, zoom in so you can see, okay, and choose Define, Filter, Dump Measure, All Tables. Click that, and you can see that's what we've got, okay? And then really all we need to do is to copy. So what do you reckon then? When you use the tools that Power BI has, especially with dump filters that SQL BI provides, you can actually push a lot of the documentation load for reports and visualizations right there. So it's front and center in front of the user. They're not having to go and find something and look things up. It's kind of there. Oh, what does this mean? Click, brilliant, say, awesome. Okay, there are more tools coming. So in terms of being able to get more metadata out from reports and from things, you will find, you can do stuff. So you could write measures that are going to pull those, and then you can add those and augment some of the stuff that's on there. In theory, you could do that and actually have that summary there. Okay? There's lots of options. I mean, I'm sure for everything I would suggest, there'll be 20 people say, oh, I'll do this. These are things that I've used in the past and that our users or our customers have found, actually, that's really useful to be able to do that. Does not mean that it's the definitive guide to the truth. This works for some people and for a lot of people, but in some use cases, it's going to come down to how frequently people access report content, what kind of report content it is, just all sorts of subtleties and nuances to it. Okay, but it's important that you're aware that it exists. So we've gone through, haven't we? We've discussed the idea of what you need for your full end user documentation guide, what you're going to need for your kind of technical documentation guide for your semantic model, in terms of that's going to be really what comes out of VertiPack Analyzer. And we've also discussed really what you're going to need for your data integration kind of documentation, which is really why I'm hoping each end of the day, yeah, this is why we talk and have time and again the structured plan that you need to think of this in 3 distinct stages, because there are 3 distinct stages that your data goes through, 3 distinct stages that your documentation needs to have, and 3 distinct groups of people that are going to really need to deal with it and are going to hit it the most and do the most work and spend the most of their lives doing in it. Okay? Yeah? Champion. Hey, so I hope you'll keep coming back, because we're going to talk really about what we're going to do next, aren't we? So we're actually going to push and show you some of the updates that we've built and pushed into our lovely Jasmine Dean Parkrun report. For now, though, stay safe, take care, ta-da.